Hi everybody, my name is Chad Burns. I'm known in the SCA as Duncan, often called Monster. I am a citizen of the Mid-Realm, a soldier of the Dragon Army, and a captain of the Gold Base. I have been threatening and writing about doing a video series for quite some time about what I call the S.M.A.C.K talk, or the Simplified Method of Amalgamated Combat Knowledge. This is going to be an introductory video to that, and I want to lay out some of the core concepts and discussion points in a more easy to digest than my rambling writings. Alright, so the S.M.A.C.K talk is built upon the same theory that I developed in the United States Army when I was part of the Training Army Doctrine Command that developed USD, or Unarmed Self-Defense. The stated goal and intent of that regimen was to take all known recorded martial arts and distill them down to a course that could be taught to an Iowa farm kid in 3 to 5 day workshops. So it was built around finding commonality. What I've done over the past 16 years or so in the SCA and my own self is I've studied both the SCA training doctrines, such as the Bellatrix School and many other preeminent writings about SCA style combat, as well as period folios, fight books, and manuals for everything from George Silver to the Bolognese schools, Fiore, Meyer, a few other things. I've studied these in a sense to get the commonalities and to find the things that are true in all systems, but also are most applicable to SCA armored combat. And again, this is going to be mostly geared to SCA armored combat. A lot of it's going to also be applicable to other HEMA systems, other SCA combat systems like cut and thrust. Some of it's going to be applicable to rapier. Some of it's applicable to street fighting, because fighting at the end of the day is fighting. Violence as a aggregate is based on a simple principle, violence. All right. All of that said, the core principle I want you to take out of the S.M.A.C.K talk, and the most important component of any fighting system, really is the foundational idea you have to get a hold of is measure. Okay? In the SCA, we are very poor overall at beginning training, teaching new fighters specifically about measure. Measure and measure control is something you learn through the hard knock accident of SCA fighting and continuing to do it past the first couple of years. All right, let's talk about what measure is and isn't, and how I think is a good method to train it, and the method I use and the method I found that works the best for me to discuss it. In the SCA and training, everybody always eventually brings out the ABC model when talking about measure. It has uses, but it's also flawed. It doesn't address a couple of other key components of measure. Most SCA conversations about measure deal with distance. Distance is not the sum of measure. Measure is actually made primarily, from my point of view, of 3 components. And those components are distance, pace, and timing. Okay? Distance is what the ABC conversation covers. I personally am not going to use ABC. I'm just going to talk about it now so we understand what it is and why I'm not going to use it. The ABC conversation usually states that there are 3 ranges. There is A range, B range, C range. The issue that I have with ABC is they have no intrinsic definitions. A is meaningless by itself without some other thing to judge it against. Just like you can't have a large and a medium, you have to have a small. You understand what I'm saying? You have to have, it's a scale that builds upon itself. The problem is, does A mean far out of weapons range, B is somewhere in the middle, and C is up belly to belly close quarters combat? Or is C all the way out there and B is somewhere in the middle and A is belly to belly close quarters combat? The issue is I've heard and been shown and been taught both within the same region, kingdom, and group. ABC, not greatest terms. The term I'm going to use to discuss the first component of measure, or distance, is reach and range. Reach is simply defined as that distance in which, without an action, without a movement, in or out, to change the distance between you and your opponent, you may reach out with your hand or your weapon and touch your opponent. That is reach. Okay? My reach is not going to be your reach. Your opponent's reach is not going to be equal distant to your own. You have to begin to learn what your reach is with each particular weapon and to be able to judge correctly, hopefully, your opponent's reach. Okay? You do not want to hang out in reach. You do not want to enter into your weapon's reach and hang out there. And you most certainly do not want to enter into your opponent's reach and hang out there. That's a losing proposition. Don't do that. Range is one action, one movement outside of reach. So if I have a reach of this far and I take one step back, I am now in range. We are engaged. We are fighting. The fact that I can or can't strike you is immaterial. We are fighting. We are engaged. Now, range does not end right there. Range goes from the one step out of reach until the individual range. As long as we can see each other and are engaged with each other, we are fighting, irrespective of distance. Okay? So rather than worrying about A, B, and C, I understand. I want you to understand. Those two definitions do not compose all the multiple variances of distance. Absolutely not. There are as many variations of distance as there are specks of air and dust between two fighters. But they are simple arcs of concept that are much more easier to explain and have intrinsic definition and can better affect the way you think about a fight. Okay? So focus on figuring out what your reach is, judging what your opponent's is, and find, most importantly, the point between the arc of reach and the line of range. Learn that point. You want to begin an engagement where you're actually going to begin throwing shots and making blocks at the tipping point between reach and range. As you transition from range to reach, you should be doing an action. As you're leaving from reach into range, you should be doing an action. If you're going to be in reach, have a plan. Okay? That's part one. Part two component of measure is pace. Pace is the speed at which actions take place. Now, when we talk about pace, most people intrinsically, automatically think that to control pace, they have to move more. They have to do more things. They have to apply more pressure. They have to make more wiggle. That's accurate, but not all. You can control pace through inaction, by staying out at range, by not expending a lot of energy, by causing your opponent to move in or out or around or away to make them change their style. These are all pace things. You can command and control pace through inaction as well as action. Patience is a pace choice. Hastiness is a pace choice. Calculus you have to do is what's more valuable in this particular situation. The last component of measure is timing. Timing is something we all understand, but it's something that's difficult to discuss. A lot of us get fixated on how quickly I can throw a shot or make a block and whether I can get to that block before that shot reaches me and can I stop it. That's the component of timing everybody fixes on. What I want to talk to you about is the levels of timing, the tiers of the decision-making and action process, okay? George Silver writes a lot about this. A few other guys write a lot about this. I'll use Silver's terms somewhat, but I'm going to break them down a little bit more. There's time of the foot, which is all the actions made moving your body like a chess piece, forward, back, left, right. That's time of the foot. Hands are actions you make with weapons or shields. Those can be actual shots, actual blocks. Those can be feints. Those can be changes in position. Those can be the application of pressure through changes of angle. All of that stuff. That's hand. Eye, the speed of the eye, is the speed at which you see things. When someone moves their hand, your eye is always going to process that or interpret that faster than the hand can complete the action. So eye is faster than hand is faster than foot. There is one system that's not talked a lot about, but I'm going to address it in a very specific way, and this is coming straight from the United States Army. You have three brains, okay? You have three levels of processing power in your head, and those are your sapient brain, your monkey brain, and your lizard brain. The sapient brain is the one that makes plans, pre-visualizations, and decisions. That is the tactics, or the logistics brain, and the tactics brain You make plans in the sapient brain. The sapient brain interprets action and makes extrapolations. That's what sapient does. So if you're facing a fighter and they change their guard, the sapient brain is the one that goes, they're going for this cut, or they're using this folio, or they're doing this, whatever, they're threatening this shot. That's your sapient brain. The monkey brain is the brain in the middle, and the monkey is the one that drives the meat. Your sapient brain does not actually tell your body to do anything. It tells your monkey. Your monkey does. Muscle memory and reflex training is one of the things we talk about a lot, and we try to do through repetition or continued action to develop muscle memories. Okay? That's what the monkey is. We train the monkey, and the monkey gets something as learns something well enough. It can, off a cue, create an action without having to bother the sapient brain. So that's a level of processing that's gone away. The sapient doesn't have to tell the monkey, and then the monkey does it. The monkey goes, I know what to do now, and it doesn't. The bad part about that is you can fall into habits. Trying not to drill habits. Everybody's bad at this. I'm bad at this. Some habits are beneficial. A habit that helps you settle into your position and your fighting. A step that reminds your monkey, we're fighting now. That's a thing. However, so is falling into the same 3-shot combo when you're tired. That's monkey. Don't let your monkey's conditioning override your sapient. Okay? Your sapient needs to always keep an eye on the monkey, but not a leash. The lowest level of your brain is your lizard brain. Lizard brain pretty much controls your endocrine system, how fast your heart beats, getting lungfuls of air. That's the lizard. Right now, we're not going to really address the lizard. There are some lizard things that we need to address later on, especially when we get to challenges and problems in later videos. We'll talk more about the lizard. But for right now, let's put the lizard away. Let's worry about the sapient, the monkey, the tiers of speed, pace, and distance. All of these together control and affect measure. All right? Maybe we'll do some little quick show and tell here in a second, but that's what I've got right now. So again, this is an early unplanned video, so please give me feedback, comment, and let me know if there's anything I missed or you need me to explain more. Thanks again.